watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Ooh. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
I pray we find your love and hold it in our heart. When stars go out each night, remind us where you are. Let this be our prayer when shadows fill our day. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved. Womeoyamni arire ubechim na akoma ebugwenyarechichi momaye to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved. Need to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved.
There is beauty all around when there's love at home. There is joy in every sound when there's love at home. Peace and plenty here abide, smiling fair on every side. Time doth softly, sweetly glide when there's love at home. Love at home, love at home. Time doth softly, sweetly glide when there's love at home. Ooh, kindly heaven smiles above when there's love at home. All the earth is filled with love when there's love at home. Sweet to sings the brook lit by, bright to beams the azure sky. Oh, there's one who smiles on high when there's love at home. Love at home, love at home. Time doth softly, sweetly glide when there's love at home. There's love at home. There's love at home. Safely from all harm I'll rest, with no sinful care distressed. Through thy tender mercy blessed, when there's love at home. Love, love at home. Love at home. Time doth softly, sweetly glide when there's love at home.
Oh, 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 minha semi, adiawaya, amanu, tuminkantu, intimatu, ayeyinyu, almira, awosulu, minsu semi, Jiwa yeyi, jiwa sira, Jehovah Nisi, Jehovah Jireh, Elohim, Adonai, El Shaddai, Shalom, Shama, Elyon, Alpha, Elohike, Jehovah, 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 Jehovah Usenu.
Hello, our amazing viewer out there. Yes, we come to your homes this evening and we hope you are doing well, because we here are doing so well thanks to God. The fact that He has ushered us into a new month, we can't thank Him enough. Of course, you can't deny that fact. He has been faithful despite what is happening here. I'll mention more, but He has been faithful. So we're going to give Him all the glory and honor. I welcome you once again. This is Rhythms of Life on Hope Channel, Ghana. Invite a friend, tell a family member that Rhythms of Life is on the screen. Today I have with me a wonderful guest. Actually, I'm so happy because it's been a while since I had a female coming to Rhythms of Life. And let me give you a gist of who she is so that you know what I'm talking about. Our guest works to give insight to corporations of 16 partners across 11 European countries on the relevance and adaptability of green technology in Africa. So who is my guest? I want you to join hands with me. I wish I could clap, you know. Let's welcome our guest, Miss Pauline Anaman. Pauline.
Yes,
how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yes, today is 2 Akosias, so you should know. It's going to be more of a hyperactive discussion. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much.
How was your weekend? I'm fine. I'm fine by God's grace. How was your weekend?
It was hectic. I had my niece around. I love her so much, so I had to give her time. It was fun having her around and hectic at the same time. But
which auntie vibes?
Oh yes, as for that one, I have the badge.
We thank God. You know, it's so interesting. I don't know for you, my viewer, if you are to read about someone or dig into someone's life and you go on Google and it just pops up plenty. You don't even know where to read from. Has anybody told you that your profile is so much on Google?
Yeah.
You barely see people, you know, you type someone's name, it's just one or two things about them. But you, it's like a whole line packed. And it's not just one thing about you. It's different series of things you have done. I'm not flattering you, but I don't know if anybody has told you that.
Yes, I've had that.
How did you feel?
Sometimes I feel excited and happy about it. Other times too, I feel people are exaggerating. But at the same time, I think I've achieved quite a lot for my life and it makes me proud.
Of course, you have to be proud. You are an external advisor working with a huge, you know, corporation that comes with 16 people. And we are talking about green technology in Africa, not just in Ghana, in Africa. Can you, you know, give us some highlight on what it is about?
Okay, so basically the European Union has a plan to remove carbon from the atmosphere by 2050. They call it net zero, like the amount of carbon you produce should be the exact amount you take out. So basically the net is zero, and they've put together a number of initiatives, and one of the initiatives is the European Union Horizon 2020 Negative Emissions Project. It is it's an over €5 million project, a 4-year project.
Okay.
And
that's a huge sum of money.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And it comprises of 16 partners. And these partners include the University of Oxford, University of Cambridge, include Shell, and then some think tanks, you know, and these people have come together to research into technologies that will enable the net zero to happen. And they want to scale that technology, so they needed insight into Africa. And I happen to be the person providing the social, economic, political, cultural context of Africa, analyzing the research findings that they have, and then giving my input, telling them what is practicable and what is not, you know, basically helping the practical aspects of the project. If it has to scale, if they develop technology and it has to scale, will it be suitable for the African continent? So basically I'm giving them insight into Africa to enable that to happen.
How many are you know, picked from Africa to help with this kind of policy?
Okay, so for the external advisors, I'm the only African.
You are the only African?
Yeah. There are a number of people from other countries, so they are looking at the whole world.
Okay.
And I happen to be the only African.
I'm proud of it. You worked with a lot of energy companies. You worked with, let's say, oil and gas. You worked with Tallow. You worked with some organizations. I mentioned Tallow because it's well known here in Ghana. How has the experience been, especially you being a female?
Okay, so my experience in the extractives industry generally has not been with a lot of companies, but I started off with a company called Trustworks Global, located in Netherlands now. This was after I finished my master's in Oxford. And then before Trustworks was when I did Tallow. And after Trustworks, I came to Africa Center for Energy Policy, where I work since 2016. And the context differ because ASEP, for instance, is a think tank compared to Tallow, which is a company, corporation, private, and then Trustworks is also private. But overall, my work has mainly been in engaging government and policy makers, you know. So with Trustworks, for instance, we're helping corporations to make responsible investments in high-risk environments. In Tallow, what I did had to do with the economic impact Halo was having on Ghana. And then I also analyzed qualitative and quantitative data to help them decide on which areas to invest in and also how to improve their local content. And then in ASEP, it has been basically research using evidence to influence policy along the decision value chain of the energy industry, both oil and gas, power, and also for the extractives, mining. So mainly we are looking at the contracting stage where you contract people to come into Ghana to develop the minerals, to the revenue management aspect of it, where is government putting the money. So at ASEP, I really enjoyed doing value for money analysis, going to visit projects, holding government accountable basically. And then
is it because you're a woman? Is it women love money, you know?
Oh yeah, I like money. Money is nice. It's good. It's good to have money. I think men also like money. But
they push it all on us. That
don't
we
mind
love
them.
money.
They like money more than us. Why do they work overtime? Don't mind them. We all like money. Yes, but basically ensuring that resources are managed efficiently, and being a woman in the space, you hardly see a lot of women around.
Okay.
There are very few women. The women you see are very motivated. Some are into the highly technical areas like engineering. I know a couple of people. People are also into the policy space, the legal aspect as well, the advocacy aspect also. So, yeah. And I've had good mentors in the space who have supported me. I can mention Nafi. I was with her today. She is now the Africa Director for Natural Resources Governance Institute. I can mention Dr. Jimai Manunu. I can also mention Dr. Juliet Chumesi Anoche. These three women have been very instrumental. Marilyn, she was also with PIAC. She also encouraged me a lot. I've met amazing peers. I can think of Barbara, Frida, Joanne, like my own colleagues, Linda, Hunu, people, we really encouraged each other. Yeah, and I can also talk of Sheila. She's also Adventist. She's with NPA. Yeah, so there are women in the space who are doing amazing work, very motivated. There are obstacles, of course, but overall, once you work hard and you apply yourself and you also have the knowledge, nothing can stop you. So I think basically having the support of female mentors. I've had male mentors, but because you asked about females, yeah. Because my own boss, Benjamin Boache, has been instrumental, and the current Deputy Energy Minister also really gave me a lot of opportunities, Dr. Ishmelaka also. So I can mention a number of men who have really supported my growth. But overall, I've had women in the industry who have seen the potential in me and pushed me to achieve. And not to forget my mentor in leadership, Taka Awori. She's been an amazing person, shaping the non-technical aspects of me to become a great leader in the spaces I find myself. So,
why are you saying the non-technical part? Because, well, I've had people mention that here in Ghana is more of the theory than the technical, the practical aspect. Is it the reason why you made mention of the fact that, you know, he shaped that in you?
Yes, you see, you could be a leader in a space and you have the technical knowledge, the book knowledge that you apply, the technical things that we do. But if the people you work with cannot work with you, then what's the essence of your technical book knowledge? So as a leader, you have to combine, you have to be 360, combine both the technical aspects of your work as well as the human aspect of the work that you do. And Taka is the woman who helped me. She picked me up from 2018. I was enrolled on the Oversight Leadership Program by Ghana Oil and Gas, Ghana Go Gig. Let me just Go Gig, and yeah. So they selected me for that leadership program. So at that program, they empowered us in our technical capabilities, but also the human aspect, and that's where I met Taka, and she's been amazing. Yeah, because I used to be a terrible leader, but now I'm better.
She said she used to be a terrible leader.
Yeah.
What makes you think that you were I don't want to say what made you know. What made you think that you were a terrible leader?
As a leader, you have to know, you have to be self-aware. And through your self-awareness, you are able to manage yourself in order to lead others. And you have to also be socially, emotionally intelligent. Let's put it that way. And I was at a point where I started off at ASAP as a policy analyst. Within a year, I was promoted to a senior policy analyst. And 3 months after that, I was made the head of policy. And to be honest, my boss had so much confidence in me, Mr. Benjamin Bashi. That is why the board of ASAP put me in that position. And it also meant that I had the technical competence to lead a team to do the work, right? But then, before I say what I'm about to say, let me be clear about this. So, throughout my student life, I've been a student leader from primary to secondary. I was a senior girls prefect in senior high school. Even in uni, I was a leader. So you could see that the leadership at the university, the educational level, is not the same. It's not exactly the same as when you're in the work environment, where I now had to manage my people I started with, right? And then how to get things done, having expectations, setting targets for people, following up with them, even how to speak to people. And there's something I learned. Sometimes the intention you have is different from the impact you have on people. The way you speak to somebody, you might intend one thing and the person might interpret it in another, just because you as a person you are not conscious about your environment and how you relate with people. So that was my situation. When I said I was a bad leader, that was a joke. I mean, everybody loved me.
Of course.
People loved me. But I became so much of a better person with Taka directing and helping me to know myself, know my strengths, know my weaknesses. One thing I learned most was shifting my beliefs in every situation I found myself. So if somebody attacked me, instead of attacking back, which I would do, I would attack you. Why would you attack me? I also have to defend myself. But Taka taught me how to shift my beliefs. There could be something, a reason somebody might have said something to me. Maybe for them, the intention they had is different from the impact they had on me. So I have to now shift their beliefs and see what perspective are they coming from. Then it will inform my response. So I've changed from being the if you do me, I do you, to trying to understand. I've become more empathetic, more patient, but it doesn't mean I'm a fool. No. Sorry for the word, but yeah, basically, sorry for talking too much.
No, it's good. We are also tapping into your experience. One way or the other, this is not basically a classroom or maybe a seminar, but that is what Rhythms of Life stands for. At the end of the show, we pick 1 or 2 things from our guests and we live with it. Not all of us are leaders. We have leaders and we have bosses. So you explaining some, not basically all qualities of a leader. We are picking something from what you are saying. I know our viewers out there are doing the same. So it's all good that you're being so realistic with us. All right, so you are also a consultant.
Yeah.
And then other things pertaining to energy, that's gas, oil, mines. As a female, growing up most of the time, we are told to pick up with the soft things. Not to mention a lot of professions or to offend anyone there, but maybe the nursing or maybe something like the teaching or that thing. But you pick to go in there, that is for mines, gas, energy. Why that part?
Okay, so a lot of, let me be honest, some of the things I have done happened to me, and they happen because they fit into a certain purpose. So I can take you back to my undergraduate years. I did land economy, BSc at KNUST, and typically people who do land economy go into real estate management and valuation and all of that. But it was during one field trip to the Western region that I found so much. So there's mineral resources, but the development was minimal. So to borrow from the president, so common day, and those people in the West, they kind of I just didn't understand. So my curious mind was asking why we have that situation. Why do we have resources and then all of that, and then we have poverty among the people? People live on the resources, but then they are poor. So in finding answers to the question, I now thought about the course I was doing. I made a conscious I became more conscious about the course I was doing, and then the definition of land. The legal definition is not just the physical land per se, but anything below it and above it. And I'm like, okay, so that means minerals is land. So that means as a land economist, I could be dealing with the minerals and not buildings. So that's where it started. And the interest in that area brought back memories of my senior high school days, where I went to the Deprived Senior High School. And so it's all about like the issue of poverty, depravity, the need for equality and equity and all of that. So from senior high school, I knew that I wanted to hold government accountable. I wanted to have effective government who could, and effective corporations who could add value to people's lives, improve lives. No one person should be better off than the other. I mean, granted, our circumstances are different, but for the things we have no control over, the government and corporations should be the ones enabling people to live their best lives. I didn't like the idea of poverty. I didn't like the idea of deprivation. I believe in human capabilities. So why should a person's circumstance limit them from excelling? Why should where you come from as a poor from a poor family or going to a deprived school, why should that determine the rest of your life? So for me, I wanted to address that, and so when I came to the university and went on that field trip, I now saw that, okay, so this is something that I could work with, and that's even how I chose the public policy course in Oxford, and I narrated this story to get into that school. And whilst I was in Oxford, we had a policy challenge in oil and gas. And I was like, okay, oil and gas is new. We've been mining for so many centuries, so many years. It's been over a century, but nothing has really come out of it. So I want to be a part of the new paradigm. I want to prevent the oil and gas sector from looking like the mining sector. So that's why I made a decision and ended up in Talo. And whilst in Talo, I had to go back to the drawing board and see whether what I was doing fitted the purpose. And so I had to move on to ASEP. To Trustworks and then to ASEP. And at ASEP, I found a lot of fulfillment, you know, holding governments accountable, telling them with evidence how they are performing with revenue investment in education, health, agriculture, and all those things. It was fun.
People should be going for, field trips. You might not know. Things might change.
Yeah,
like
but basically,
Pauline.
I think that we have to find our purpose in life. Then it is in finding the purpose in life that you're able to see the opportunities. So for me, because I knew what I wanted to see, the change I wanted to see, what I would love to do, it was then that I found the opportunities that fitted. So it served as a criteria for deciding where to go and where not to go, what to allow and what not to allow. So, but then the purpose could be discovered in so many ways. Mine was experiential, because I went. If I hadn't gone to a Deprived Senior High School, I mean, probably not be in this space I am. I may be in another space altogether. Yeah. So, discovering the purpose is not easy. It's difficult. I'm still refining. Each time I fine-tune the purpose, right? Yeah. So it's a process that we need to allow ourselves into, and you do that also by trying different things. Yeah, that's when you know what's.
All right. So you being a leader, helping others, have you been able to achieve the purpose of which you wanted things to be done? You spoke of changes here, especially in Ghana. Why is it that your discussions are coming with this cultivation and other things we can generate from our lands? So far, have you seen any improvement ever since you took that path?
Yes, I can talk of, for example, the during the 2016 election, ASEP took a certain innovative path of informing political parties' manifestos with insight from citizens. So we developed the Citizens Energy Manifesto, and it was evidence-driven. We went around the whole country, collected data, analyzed the data, and told the politicians what the people wanted as far as the energy sector is concerned.
And like much of them were coming from your angle?
Yeah, so we collected the data from people, and I was on the team.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, some of our propositions were adopted into the policies of the current government.
Okay.
So something like investing in education and all of that came from that manifesto, renegotiating some of the power contracts so that the tariffs could come down. It's also coming from the energy manifesto, enabling people to access electricity more affordably, you know, improving lives basically in various ways. So it's one of the things that I'm very proud of, like to see that some of the things we proposed were actually taken and implemented. Yeah.
All right, so you kept mentioning, you know, growing up, when you went to private school and all that. What was your upbringing like your experience growing up?
Okay, so I was born in Sunyani to Adelaide and Jonathan. Shout out to them.
Yes, sure, that's Bobby and Daddy.
Yes, so my dad is a sales officer.
Okay.
And my mom currently is in herbal medicine. She has a clinic and all that. But before then, she was into fashion designing and all that. And my mom laid down all her tools to take care of us.
Is that why you're a fashionista?
Oh,
You know, someone wanted me to ask, so I'm asking.
My dad loves dressing up. My mom too, but I think my dad is very fashionable. When I see my dad, I'm like, yeah. He has a fashion sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, but
you tapped from him.
But fashion also makes you confident. So I like to be confident. I like to look good. So
right.
yeah, so these are my parents, born in Sunyani, then we moved to Takrade and then to Aflao. And from Aflao to a village called Poglu in the Volta region, both in the Volta region. And I grew up with my siblings, Ruth, James, Joel. Our parents made a lot of sacrifices for us. They are not rich. They were just okay to make sure that they gave us the education we needed. What my parents did not have is like the network to connect you to people. My dad, for one, is not the type that would say, let me connect you to this person. So paying our fees, making sure we were comfortable going to school was one key thing. And then my mom in particular she's very determined. When she sets her mind to something, she does not give up. She makes sure it happens. And I think that is something that she instilled in us. Both parents we saw them being very hardworking, committed to the things they do. And my dad would always say that you have to be excellent, not just in books. My dad will not punish you for failing an exam or, you know, he really cared less about like the book knowledge.
Is your dad an African?
Yes. My dad is, but he's very liberal and open-minded when it comes. He just tells us, you are good enough, no matter what happens. You are good enough. And my mom also supports us in that way. I remember when I happened to go to the Deprived Senior High School, for instance, at some point I wanted to quit school completely. And my mom told me.
Totally out of school?
Yeah, I didn't want to go to school. This, a lot of people don't know. I wanted to drop out of school.
Why? Was it because of the circumstance at that moment? Or it's just
it was the circumstance and the disappointment. Like, I wanted to go to Wesley Girls. I had good grades. I had 07. I didn't get 06. And the other schools will not admit me. My dad will not do anything to get me into anything extra to get me into a good school. So it was even one of my uncles who came to the rescue, right? My parents have taught us to be responsible. So you face the music when you make choices. So
is it that he chose the school and
no, he didn't choose the school. My dad didn't choose the school. My parents, my parents never tell you what course to do. They never tell you what career to pursue. They never do those things. They just pay your fees and tell you that find your path. So we've all found our path some way or the other. They don't impose anything on us. So I told my dad I wanted to go to Wesley Girls. He said go for it. I didn't get into Wesley Girls. Okay, so you have to go to senior high school. And we tried, he tried, you know, the other schools. Nothing really came up and time was going. So my uncle came in that he's found a school for me. They took us, me and my cousin, to the school. They dumped us there and went back. And that was...
You mentioned dump.
Yeah, like they literally removed our trunks and all that and said bye.
And just left.
Yeah, my cousin started crying. I was angry. So that's the, for example, when we are going to school, for instance, before we get our pocket money and provisions, we have to do some work. Like that, you have to show responsibility. It's not strict too.
Okay.
But I think he was intentional about it. When
I grew up, how old were you then?
Oh, going to senior high school, I was 14. Yeah.
I'm asking that because someone might say, isn't that child labor? Like
no, it's not child. Weeding your backyard. The backyard, they throw away food.
Okay, so you weed and you pay
no,
for
like
that?
we know that we know that we have to go to school.
Okay.
But as a child, you have responsibilities at home. Do you want your father to go and weed for you?
No.
Before you come and stand in front of him, that daddy, you now your conscience will tell you that have you done your responsibilities, because he's also doing his. So that's when we were young, we thought he was straight, but I've seen that my dad is the most liberal person growing up. Like from uni days, I'm like, wow. And he also has his surprising moments. Like there are moments that he will just call you. I remember when I got my first mobile phone, I was just sweeping the compound and he's like, oh, I've seen that you are very responsible, take mobile phone. And I'm like, wow. So that's the kind of upbringing we had. So in SS, when I wanted to give up, my mother told me that none of her children take a step forward and come back. I am going to finish that school whether I like it or not. And it is either I am with the best, whether I'm the best, I'm either the best or with the best. That's what she told me. And that's something my grandmother used to tell her. So I had to, during my second year, I had to reorient my mind and enjoy the experience as I went. So in the first year, I was sleeping in the corridor. In the second year, I had the option to sleep on the top bed with a first year, whilst the school mother sleeps on the down bed.
You were sleeping on the corridor.
Yes.
First year?
In second year, this time, first year it was given to me. Second year, it was a choice. My cousin and I made the corridor so fun that other people wanted to sleep on the corridor. It was that nice. The first time I slept in a room was when I became the school prefect. But the situation in my school, I recently went to the school for our anniversary, 50th anniversary.
What's the name of your school?
T.I. Ahmadiyya Senior High School. But it is not the popular Kumasi one people know. This one is Guma
I was
Potting.
about even asking.
It's not, it's Guma Potting. But the systems have improved. The people before us also tell of their ordeals. So the difficulties of life have shaped my tenacity, my persistence. And the encouragement we had from our parents have also been very instrumental in how none of my siblings ever gives up, and we encourage one another, we support one another. Like when I'm broke, my brothers, my sister will send me money when they are broke. Like we do that kind of thing, supporting each other. If somebody is preparing for an interview, we all jump in and prepare the person and they go get it. We've been taught to support one another. It's not a perfect family, of course. We have our flaws.
Of course.
My parents have their flaws. I have encounters with my dad, especially, but I know he's listening.
Of course, we will come to that relationship between you and your parent, your dad and your mom. You've been hitting your dad,
we've said enough.
We still want to know.
Oh, this one there, it's okay.
I don't know why she's running that way, but anyway, it's all good. Viewer, it's still Rhythms of Life, and we are having a wonderful conversation with Miss Pauline Anaman, sharing her experience. And we've got into the part in which she was in school. You've still not done with that. You've proceeded through you becoming the head girl in your school. How did that happen?
Oh, that one too. One of my teachers, Commander Fire, he encouraged me.
Why the senior high school people like giving our teachers these funny nicknames?
I had teachers who supported me. When I went to first year, people were already telling me, oh, as for you there, you'll be the school prefect. Like the school mothers and all, they were telling me, maybe because of how I presented myself and maybe how I was doing well in school and all that. Yeah, so the time came and then I even ran away to the house and my parents sacked me back to school. And Commander Fire told me that you don't know what this could do for you. It could improve your CV and all that. That was even the first time I was hearing about CV. So I went to read about CV and I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what it means. So I decided, okay, I would do it. And then, yeah, I became the school prefect.
And it did, as he said.
Yes, because we had to negotiate some things between the students and the school authorities. We also had to like take certain decisions that were tough for the students. For example, levying compulsory, like imposing compulsory levies so that we could fix louver blades and buy fans and also contribute towards our school bus. And some of
left that
things,
legacy in school. So speaking of uni, this time around you went ahead to choose where you want to go to the uni.
Yes, I chose KNUST. I bought forms in Legon and Tech. I got nursing in Legon, but I know that I can't be a nurse.
Nursing, but why is it the forms you didn't indicate nursing?
I did. I chose nursing. I don't even know why I chose. I don't know. I was just choosing. Even Tech, the land economy, I heard that, oh, it's a course that will make you rich. Like the people who come out, they do valuation, property stuff, they are rich. Even that one, it was my father who was saying it too. And I went to read about it and I'm like, okay. But then the important aspect is that whilst in school, I had to now, it took the field trip for me to see the kind of course I was doing and how it was relevant for my purpose and my work. So I would say now that people should be intentional about like some of the courses they choose in school. You don't choose because you have to go to university or you've passed.
But you see people still at some point in time still don't even know what they want to really do.
Yeah, that is because like from the onset I talked about purpose. We are not intentional about a lot of things, including the purpose. You know that even your choice of life partner is influenced by your purpose. Because you want to live a full life and you would want somebody who can enable you to do that, whilst you also enable them to do theirs. But if you don't know your purpose, you can choose anybody. You get, they will mess up your life. So the purpose is the fundamental thing, but it's also the difficult thing to do, especially when you are young. If you are not lucky like me, who went to a depressed senior high school, you might not be conscious. At that age, I was questioning inequality. I mean, who questions inequality in SS? You just go and have fun, do the, you see. Of
course.
But it was a necessary experience for me. At the time, I did not understand. But again, my parents guided me to understand. So it's also good to have people around, mentors or parents, who can help you to face your situation, support you to be bold and face the difficulties that come in life. And when you are able to transcend that phase, you realize that you are capable after all. And every challenge you overcome enables you to see your capabilities. Yeah, and it gives you more confidence to do more. Yeah, so.
I realize you're a writer. Did you turn out about that in school or way after uni? So
the writing, I don't know when it happened. I'm naturally like when I say that people don't believe, I'm very introverted and I like to think a lot.
Oh, so you're the overthinkers. You're part of those who overthink.
Overthinking is negative.
Okay.
But I think I use my brains a lot.
Oh yes, because you made that you said your brain is your
my greatest asset. I'm beautiful. I have all the hairs, but at the end of the day, my mind is what fascinates me most. I'm not, and the reason I say this is that I don't think I'm the most intelligent. I don't consider myself the most intelligent in school. I mean, those who want to be the first in school, they can always be there. I don't think I'm the most intelligent anyway, but I'm okay. I'm good enough to pass through systems, right? But I think I have a certain ability to think.
Okay.
And no matter what the issue is, I don't have to know the subjects. I believe that once God has given me the mind to think, I can do basic research and all of that. That's how I even landed the EU job. So basically, I like to reflect, think. During my pastime, that's what I love to do. And that enables me, when I write, I don't just write, I write from my soul.
Is it that you can't really express your emotions or how you feel mostly. You know that some people, I prefer to release my emotions in writing, because sometimes how I go about it, people might not understand how I feel. But in writing, I can pour out my emotions. Is it like that
No,
with you?
it's not like that. I mean, those who know me know that
You're outspoken.
I mean, when I feel something, I would like to express it, right? And that's what Taka helped me to manage. Emotions are not bad. You should be able to express them. Nobody lives in your mind. So that one, but basically, like the writing, I have to be, I don't write, I don't just get up and write. If I'm not moved to write, I don't write. But everything I put out is like well thought through, and it is because I want to. And I'm able to do, and it has to do with even my job, like the technical papers I've written, is because I am interested. So in my professional life, for instance, I don't just do any work, I do meaningful work. And that is something that ASEP gave me, for instance, because I had the interest. I'm inspired from within. It enables me to be creative. Yeah, so it's the writing, I don't know when it happened.
Because speaking of the book you co-authored, that's a chapter on energy transition and Africa's oil and gas resource that was published this year, May. That's May 2022 by Palgrave Macmillan. So your part of the chapter, that's a chapter. What was it about?
So the part is about energy transition and how that affects Africa's oil and gas industry, the challenges and opportunities it presents. For me, when I was consulted to write this chapter, I was excited about it because I'm very passionate about Africa. And one of the things I see Africa not doing well in is thought leadership. All the time we borrow ideas from people. The West they feed us ideas, and we try and test them here. They don't always work, and we waste a lot of resources implementing other people's ideas. I believe that when God created us, He didn't create us differently from the Westerners. He gave us the thinking ability to solve our own problems. And we have a separate context that is our context is different from theirs. And with the understanding of the African context, we should be able to articulate what will work for Africa, even if the whole world is going in a certain direction. So the whole world is saying we should move because of climate change. We should move away. So climate change basically is that the world is getting warmer and warmer. At some point, we may not even be able to live in the world anymore. And that is because of our the emissions, the carbon dioxide and all the greenhouse gases we emit. So the world leaders went to sign the Paris agreements, telling governments that they should reduce the amount of carbon dioxide that they produce. And one of the sources of carbon dioxide is oil and gas, which Africa has in abundance. And the rest of the world is asking us to leave our oil and gas and follow them.
We should leave the oil and gas.
Yes, they are saying that we should ban fossil fuel and follow green energy. And this is me. I have worked in ASEP, and I've seen how oil revenues have supported education, health, agri. So if we should leave the oil, where should we get the money to fund all these poverty-induced areas? You see, so it goes back to my purpose. So I'm like, okay, we need African voices. We need to tell the world what energy transition means for Africa. But at the same time, there are other opportunities. There are opportunities within the transition that Africa can take to ensure that we are contributing to the global goal. So that is what the book chapter was about, and I was excited to be part of it. Yeah.
Of course, we all will try to in fact, we have to get that book and read, because we are all part of it. We are all Africans. I'm a proud African. I know you're a proud African. Yes, so my dear, we are going for a quick break. Don't go away. You realize it's getting so interesting, and we are learning a lot of things. So let's go for this quick music break. When we're back, there's more.
Lord, you've been our dwelling place in all generation. Before you created hills, brought the world into being. From the everlasting to the everlasting, you are good. You take men back to dust and sea. Return to dust, O Son of Man. 1,000 years before your eyes is like a day that's just gone by, like water in the night. 1,000 years before your eyes is like a day that's just gone by, like water in the night. You are good. You take men back to dust and sea. Return to dust, O Son of Man. 1,000 years before your eyes is like a day that's just gone by, like water in the night. 1,000 years before your eyes is like a day that's just gone by, like water in the night.
Welcome back from the break. If you just joined, it's Rhythms of Life, and our guest for today is Miss Pauline Anaman, sharing her experience both growing up and also what she's doing now as an external advisor. Dear, whatever we've discussed, we'll point down to, did you ever envision yourself to be where you are now when you were growing?
I wasn't particularly clear what I was going to do with my life. I mean, in essence, I just had an idea the kind of thing I wanted to do. But I remember that sometime when Ghana celebrated Ghana at 50, my family went to the that place they said, I don't even remember, the Black Star place.
Yeah.
There was so much struggle. We were all struggling. And I tapped my mom and told her that. So at that moment, we had splitted. So myself and my mom were separated from the rest of the family. The rest were with my dad. And we couldn't find people. But I told my mother that one day I'm going to be there, like where the presidents and the ministers and those people were seated. And I said, I'm going to know them, engage them.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was like, it's possible. You can do that. And I know that you will do it. And truly speaking, like in my career life, these are the people I've been engaging. Yeah. And when I was a child, my mom and my dad used to call me Mame Lawyer, Mame Lawyer. When I was picking the forms, I didn't even think of picking the law forms.
Law form.
But now I have done the law.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't very clear what I wanted, but I think the circumstances of life, the experiences, the purpose, and then the conscious choices that fed into the purpose have brought me to this point. To be honest, if you ask me if in the next 5 years, I honestly hate that question in interviews. How do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, tomorrow, I don't even know, you know.
Of course.
Yeah, but if you ask me what I want to do in the next 5 years, I'll tell you I don't know, and I'll be honest about it. But I know that I'll be doing something that fits my purpose. It could be in a completely different field, but I know that it has to fit the purpose. That is why the purpose is fundamental.
And you see, with your job, people seems to have issues when it comes to their Christian lives. When you ask people about, okay, law, being a policy analyst, you travel around and all that, how do you blend this with your Christian life?
Like being a lawyer and a policy analyst, everybody knows I go to church on Saturday.
It's not mostly about you going to church on Saturday as an Adventist, but you as a Christian standing up for the truth.
Yeah, I mean, like holding government accountable means speaking the truth, right? Even when it hurts, and you make some few enemies here and there, but you still have to speak the truth. So if Christianity is about speaking truth, then I think I've been a good Christian. But I think I understand what you are saying. I mean, I believe in an excellent God. When we talk about being created in the image of God, that's where I take my confidence from. He created me in his image, creative, excellent, very disciplined. And I make sure I translate all of that in my work and in how I relate with people.
God is disciplined.
God is disciplined. So I have to be disciplined. If I have work to do, I don't have to play. You see what I mean? Like, God has a sense of responsibility. And so it translates to me as well. You know, one thing I don't do well with is my time. My friends have held me accountable, and like my friends like Flo and Farihat, for instance, they always tell me and be on time. And I see that I'm improving in that area. It's my weakness. I'm improving in that area. God is timely, so I have to be. So even if I am not that, I don't have certain qualities that God has in certain areas, I aspire to do better all the time. So being a Christian in the work environment, honestly, it's not about being sanctimonious and saying I go to church on Saturday or I'm a Sabbath keeper or whatever. It has to do with like reflecting the principles of God, who God is. And for me, it starts from the point of saying you've been created in the image of God. if I'm created in the image of God, there are certain things God will not do.
So was some kind of an advice you give to the youngsters coming? I know most people look up to you in life in terms of empowerment and all that. Your last word to them, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, for young people, I think young people have to be intentional about finding their purpose. It's very important, and you find that by trying different things and, you know, expanding your experiences. The other thing I want to tell young people is that we shouldn't give up. There are a lot of like obstacles, even financial, but we have to know that God created us in His image. Nothing stops Him, so nothing should stop you. Use all the resources you have, all the means. Like, there are certain things, opportunities I have had that I don't believe in joining queues. I don't like to join queues. That's why I'm saying my mind is my greatest asset. You assess, you be conscious. Young people have to be conscious about their environment and how to tap into it. That is something that we have to be intentional about. And then we also have to be very confident in ourselves. And getting confidence comes from having a knowledge base. Because if you are empty, nobody will even listen to you to even give you an opportunity. And then the last thing is to continually invest in ourselves. You will see somebody today, like we are saying, oh, external advisor to, even how I got there, it took a lot of effort. It was by accident that somebody contacted me to do something. I didn't have knowledge in that. It took effort to acquire the knowledge to do that to the person's satisfaction. And then somebody saw me doing that, and the person was like, you could do this. I didn't even have to apply for anything, you get. So we have to like put in the work. Nothing comes easy. Nothing is easy. The things that are free are dangerous. Very. So young people, we should stop the freebies.
Youngsters said we should stop the freebies. On this note, I want to say a very big thank you to you, Pauline Anaman, for making time to come on your show and then to also help us tap into your life. Not basically everything about you, especially your privacy, but we've learned a lot. Me personally, and I know our viewers out there too have learned a lot. As usual, what I'm taking with me is that God is a disciplined person. And if we truly are Christians, even if you're a Muslim, you should know that every quality of the God we serve must be applied in everyday life. It's not only about going to church, but it should be part of you. A quick one to you, our viewer, even I know Pauline will listen as well. At exactly 8 p.m. today, we are going to have a grand launch and an upcoming event. And I know you really want to know what that event will be. So please don't miss this. Exactly 8. So be watching through as usual, as you do. Watch all our programs. When you get to 8, you know that something is about to happen. Very big. My name is Nana Akusia Boachi, and this was Rhythms of Life. A big thank you to you, my viewer. We'll meet same time next week. Until then, be very conscious about things around you.